Ireland's first World Cup ever. They make their World Cup debut. They're coming in here with probably zero expectations, right? But with this team, when I saw them out on the field, oh my goodness, like I was almost expecting this maybe like World Cup nerves take over them. The moment is overwhelming. This is your World Cup debut for all of them. And they came out tough, physical, this mentality of like, I don't care who you are, I'm going to absolutely run through you. I was so impressed by them in the sense that they don't, I feel like that they could take on a USA or an England and not care that they are USA or England. They're going to play their game and they're going to play thinking they're going to win. And I was really impressed with them.
Absolutely agree. I think this Irish team has an extremely strong mentality, similar to what you said there, Caroline. And I find, in big tournaments like this, mentality and mindset can take you so far. They turned up. I've never seen that Irish team so aggressive. I was shocked. I was like, wow. And Katie McCabe against Raso. Oh, wow. Those two were going at it. And I'm like, this is why women's football is so exciting. And I think the argument that women's football is not as exciting as men's is hilarious. And this just proved it wrong. Those two ladies were fiery.
I loved it, Julia. I'm so glad you brought that up. I have it on my notes here. Like, I said in my video after the game, I said it was like a pay-per-view main event between these two. And I was so excited anytime Raso got the ball because I'm like, what's McCabe going to do? And then McCabe, Raso kind of pushes McCabe and they're going at each other. I mean, the amount of fouls. I love the spice in football. I love when there's I love when there's physicality to the game because when it's safe, when it's not over, when it's not over crossing the line. But this game had that, and this game had sparks of moments of chaos and physicality and aggression and the tough mentality, which I absolutely agree with you. I think at times in tournaments like these, if you have a team that's mentally strong, they might advance over a team that's not as mentally strong, but maybe the other team's more talented. Mental toughness is huge in these tournaments. And I think that that's something that Ireland possesses, especially when they're taking on a co-host nation of the World Cup, Australia, who managed to have 75,784 fans watching them, which is the highest amount of fans that I think has ever been to a women's football match in Australia. So imagine that kind of being the 12th man, and Ireland's like, I don't care because I'm still here to beat you up.
I mean, I don't know if it's the Irish mentality and just like their culture, but I am so impressed by that. And I think
me too.
That's what made them go so far against Australia. Of course, Australia, they've got to have home soil advantage. And that number you mentioned of fans, amazing. And I just want to have like a quick note there for how exciting that is for the women's game because it's growing. This is truly, I feel like, just the beginning. And it's really cool to see where it's going to go. But I just thought it was so cool how the players, like you said, were not afraid to get physical. And to me, that's their passion showing. That's their pride for their country, that they've worked very hard to get here. And they're not going down without a fight. And I love that.
I love it too. And I enjoyed watching that game a lot. We can get into the goal. Raso was kind of pushed in the box. A lot of people are saying it was a soft penalty. In my opinion, and Julia, you let me know what you think.
Sure.
I think anytime there's a push in the box, I think, it was a penalty. I think Raso was thrown around a lot in that game. So I do think it sucks for Ireland to have lost that game on a pen, but I do think that it in my opinion, it's valid. And Catley, scoring that penalty, it was cold-blooded. It was perfect. She has 3 international goals, 110 caps. So, she's an experienced player and she just nailed that moment. And what a moment for Australia. What a moment to do it in front of your home fans. What a moment it was to do it in front of almost 80,000 people.
Crazy.
And securing a big W as a co-host nation alongside New Zealand, which we'll get into in a minute. But
totally.
Thoughts on the penalty and should it have been one?
I totally think it absolutely was a penalty. I think it should have been a penalty for sure. However, I do see where people might be a little bit wishy-washy, on the up and down with that. Maybe for some people, it just looked like it was kind of a player kerfuffle. They were all kind of falling down, due to momentum. But no, there was no reason for Raso just to be shoved to the ground like that. She had way too much force on her. And I just think maybe the Irish got a little bit too aggressive, that they wanted to protect their net a little bit, but I just didn't think there was a reason for her to go down that hard.
Yeah, I would have to completely agree with everything you said there. I understand people. I understand. There's been many times where I've been watching a match and I'm like, oh, that's so soft. Come on, that's so soft.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel a little differently about this one, and that's nothing against Ireland, because I think that I personally watch them and I'm like, I'd love to see them, have a big win in this tournament, because they are not playing like this is their first World Cup. They're playing like they have much more experience, and the passion that they have is something that makes, as me as a football fan, makes me want to watch every single game that they play, which I will.
100%. And I mean, that penalty could have easily happened on the other end of the pitch, right? So I think it was probably just a little bit unlucky, for Ireland in that sense. But like you mentioned, what a moment for Australia. Home soil, their co-host. They go out there without Sam Kerr, one of the best goal scorers in the women's game, and said, hey, we don't need Sam. Obviously, it would be great to have her to make that deep run. But those teammates proved they came to play without their star player, and everybody thought, oh, Australia, like, things are getting a little rocky. They don't have Sam Kerr. But no, they got the job done. No problem.
Yeah, so that's a perfect segue. And Brett, great job for anyone watching on YouTube, you could read no Sam Kerr, no problem, because about an hour before the game, Sam Kerr is posting to her Instagram that she suffered a calf injury at practice and she'll be out for what's said to be, reportedly, the next 2 games of the group stage matches for the World Cup. So she might be back for the Canada match, of course. As Canadian fans, we're like, no. Yeah. But of course, this is horrible. Anyone, you don't have to be a fan of a team or a player to never want to play. Like, I would never want to see anyone get injured at any time, but it's horrible when it's at the World Cup. So I'm hoping that it's a speedy recovery for Sam Kerr, because not only is she the face of the Matildas, but she's been the face of this entire World Cup campaign, rightfully so. She's an incredible footballer. So she's not in the match. A lot of fans, an hour before the game were like, oh, what are we going to do? Can we still do it without Sam Kerr? And you see players like Ford, come into the position, Rocket, and Australia, even though they would have been better with Sam Kerr, of course, they still got the job done, and I respect that a lot.
Yep, exactly. That would have been, probably a little bit tough, a little bit stressful right before the game for them. And I can see how going out on the pitch, they might have been a little bit uncertain. But if they did not show it. They were going out there proving to themselves and the crazy amount of fans there, why they deserve to be out there. And they really got the job done. And it was super cool. Of course, we don't know how that's going to, progress later on for the rest of the group stage, but that will totally give them the confidence moving forward.